Hey, so I wanted to talk to you guys about, oh wait, not these, forget those. We've talked about a bunch of cheap knives. I talked to you about kind of that middle ground, the wasteland of knives, where you can pay more, but you don't really get more. So let's talk about what you got to do to get more, like what kind of price range that looks like. And in my case right now, I think this is probably where I start. If I want to spend some more money and I want a knife that does not suck. This one I've had for a while. There are newer iterations in this series, but it's the Spyderco Para series. Better knife steels, better locking mechanisms, better construction, USA made and constructed with American steel. If you notice, this one has the provision for tip up or tip down carry, left or right side, does not matter. And let me talk to you real quick about this compression lock. The locking mechanism on the Paras is on the back side of the knife. And that all by itself I like more than any liner lock, because to close this knife, I don't have to put my finger in the path of the blade. I can just close it from the back. Now I should mention, by the way, this is a left-handed version of this knife. The others, it is opposite but the same. So for anyone that I'm going to mention, the ones that you're looking at, they're going to have a right-handed closure on the back. Still usable by lefties though, so don't let that deter you. This particular one is in S30 steel, CPM S30V to be exact. And I got to tell you guys, I love this steel. It holds an edge probably 3 to 4 times better than those cheaper steels. And at the same time, it's much easier to sharpen than, say, a D2. And I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and show you that edge a little bit. But I haven't sharpened this thing in a while, and it's still got a stupid edge on it. Let's see if I can capture this for you. You can just watch it just tear hairs off the back of my hand. It might need a little bit of touch up, but seriously, I wasn't kidding. I haven't sharpened this thing in over a year, and it is still screamingly sharp. S30V also, in addition to its edge holding capability, is quite rust resistant. I've carried this knife on patrol at work when I'm instructing and on the range. The neglect I have shown this knife, aside from occasional sharpening, is high. And it is still putting up with anything I can throw at it. Closes pretty smoothly, opens smoothly, no grit feel, nothing like that. It just works. And I think this is one of those knives where, absent me doing some really dastardly misuse, it is going to outlast me, I suspect. I've had some other Spydercos. I always like their product. They stand by their knives and have good guarantees. What's interesting is if you look at the current lineup of Spydercos that are available on Knife Center, you can see that they don't even have S30. Now they're running around with like S45s, S110s, and some other interesting steels, all higher end, I believe, than this one. Of course, now the problem is that the cheapest of them starts at about 110, 115 bucks. And the most expensive of the Paras that I'm familiar with jumps up to just at $200. So that's kind of the price range, in my opinion, you got to run in if you're serious about getting more for your money. The stats for this particular knife I will show you. I'll just throw a title in so you can see the actual stats for this one. But they're all similarly sized. I think they have different blade lengths. And the weight on these for the size of the knife is actually really, really good. I think this one clocks in at around 3.9, but refer to the stats that I show you for the true tail of the tape. So if you remember that one cheap knife I showed you, yeah, it's got a good lock. It's got steel. It's still a little stiff when it comes to deployment. And you don't get a lot for it, and it was also a brick. This knife, I believe, is actually stronger in terms of its overall construction and its locking mechanism, and it is lighter. I forgot to mention, I was going to talk about the compression lock. So if you can watch, when I deploy the blade, a little piece of what's in effect a reverse liner. So it's a liner but on the back side of the knife. Puts itself between the blade itself, the tang of it, and a stop pin. So rather than having to count on the steel longitudinally like this direction to keep the knife open under stress, this one just puts a very small piece but thick piece of steel between a stop pin and the knife itself. So this pin right here would completely have to fail. Like it would have to come out of the liners, completely fail for this compression lock to fail. I don't know how many pounds of force it would take to do that, but I don't think it's any amount of force that I am capable of easily generating with just my hands. So anyway, this is kind of the first stop. Like if you're telling me, hey, I don't want to spend $20 or $30, I want to spend a decent amount of money and get a decent amount of knife, this is it. It's probably my recommendation for 90+% of you guys out there. Not too heavy, not too big, not too small, fits in the pocket just right. It's in terms of this price point, this is kind of the Goldilocks of knives, guys. I love it. The Spyderco Para, in this case, like I said, Para left hand. I think it's Para 3 left hand, but multiple variants. You could do a lot worse than picking up one of these. Anyway, I hope that's been of some use and maybe a little palate cleanser, considering some of the other knives I've shown. And I'll see you for the next one, guys, because there's another brand I also want to talk about and some of their offerings. But take it easy, stay safe. As always, if you could like, subscribe, share with some friends. I'd love to hit 100 subscribers, which I know is meager compared to most YouTubers, but it'd be fun. Anyways, take care, guys. I'll talk to you next time.